In the time it takes you to watch this sentence, over 2,000 bottles of apple juice have already been filled, capped, and labeled somewhere in the world. But how do fresh apples, muddy, irregular, sometimes bruised, get turned into this? A clear, sweet, shelf-stable drink you can grab at any store, anytime? Today, we're taking you inside one of the most advanced apple juice factories in the world to see how millions of apples are transformed into the golden liquid millions of people drink every day. If you enjoy discovering how everyday things are made with high-tech precision, don't forget to subscribe to Top Discovery 4K. New videos every week, straight from the factory floor. Now let's begin the journey of apple juice, from farm to factory. Our journey begins not in a lab or a factory, but in the open air of an apple orchard. Here, thousands of trees stretch across rolling hills, their branches heavy with fruit. Depending on the region and the season, apples are harvested anywhere between late summer and early autumn. But these aren't the shiny, perfect apples meant for grocery store displays. In fact, most of the apples used in juice production are what the industry calls grade B, or processing apples. They may be slightly bruised, misshapen, or have surface blemishes, but they're still rich in juice, flavor, and natural sugars. And that's all that matters. The harvesting can happen in two ways. For small farms, apples are still picked by hand, gently twisted off the stems to avoid bruising. But in large-scale commercial orchards, mechanical harvesters take over. These machines shake the tree trunks, causing ripe apples to fall onto padded collection mats or conveyor belts below. Once harvested, the apples are placed into large plastic crates, often holding up to 900 kilograms of fruit each. They're then loaded onto flatbed trucks and sent directly to the processing plant. In most cases, this happens within 24 hours of picking. Once the apples arrive at the juice factory, their transformation begins almost immediately. Each truckload is first weighed and registered at the receiving bay. Once approved, the apples are unloaded into a massive flume system, essentially a long, water-filled channel that moves the apples into the facility. This process isn't just about transportation, it's also the first step in cleaning. As the apples float along the flume, they're gently agitated to remove leaves, twigs, and surface dirt. The water cushions them, preventing bruising and early damage. From there, the apples pass through a mechanical scrubber, rotating brushes that scrub away any remaining soil or pesticides. Next, they're rinsed again, this time with filtered chlorinated water, followed by a freshwater rinse to ensure hygiene without leaving residues. At this point, the apples are clean, sorted by flow, and moving in perfect rhythm. Thousands per hour glide down stainless steel chutes, heading into the heart of the factory. What comes next is the moment of transformation, where apples stop being fruit and start becoming raw material. Let's head into sorting and crushing. Before the apples can be turned into juice, they need to be sorted, fast, and with incredible precision. Next comes the crusher. Here, the sorted apples are fed into large stainless steel grinders equipped with rotating blades. These blades slice, shred, and mash the apples into a thick, wet pulp called pomace. But there's still one problem. The juice is locked inside the fibers. To extract it, the factory turns to something stronger. Industrial presses capable of squeezing tons of pressure per square inch. In the next step, we'll see how this mash is pressed, filtered, and separated, as cloudy apple mash becomes real, drinkable juice. The apple mash, now a thick, pulpy blend called pomace, enters one of the most critical stages in the juice-making process: pressing. At this point, the goal is simple: extract as much liquid as possible without sacrificing flavor or quality. To do that, factories use two main types of equipment: the belt press and the hydraulic press. In a belt press, the pomace is fed onto a wide, moving conveyor made of porous material. As the mash travels forward, It's squeezed between multiple rollers that gradually increase in pressure. Juice flows out through tiny perforations in the belt, while the dry remains are carried away. The alternative, used in some factories, is the hydraulic press, where the pomace is loaded into a chamber and compressed vertically by a powerful piston. This method is slower, but can produce juice with more body and texture, often used for premium or unfiltered apple juice. No matter the method, the result is the same. A golden, aromatic liquid begins to flow. It's raw apple juice, thick, fragrant, and slightly cloudy, still full of tiny particles of pulp, skin, and fiber. This raw juice is pumped into settling tanks, where heavier solids begin to sink. Then it's passed through a series of filters, fine mesh screens and spinning separators that remove seeds, peel fragments, and grit. The leftover dry material, or spent pomace, is collected and trucked away. Most factories send it to nearby farms, where it's used as animal feed, compost, or even processed into fiber supplements. Back inside the plant, the filtered juice is now ready for the next phase, clarification. This is where the cloudy liquid becomes the clear, sparkling juice we're used to seeing on store shelves. Once the juice is pressed and filtered, it's still cloudy, full of tiny pulp particles and natural pectin. To make it clear and shelf-ready, it must be clarified. First, the juice is pumped into large settling tanks. Here, gravity helps solids sink, while enzymes are added to break down pectin and starches that cause haze. Next, the juice passes through centrifuges, spinning at high speed to separate fine solids. Finally, it goes through microfiltration units, using ultrafine membranes to remove tiny particles and bacteria. The result is a crystal clear, golden apple juice, smooth, uniform, and ready for pasteurization. Some brands choose to skip this step, keeping the juice cloudy for a more natural look. But for most commercial products, clarity is key. Before apple juice can be bottled, it needs to be made safe, and that's where pasteurization comes in. The clarified juice is rapidly heated to around 85 degrees Celsius, 185 degrees for 15 to 30 seconds. This short burst of heat kills harmful bacteria, molds, and enzymes that could cause spoilage. Immediately after, the juice is cooled just as fast to preserve its fresh flavor and natural color. This process is known as flash pasteurization. Fast, efficient, and gentle. Some factories use plate heat exchangers, while others rely on tubular systems, depending on production scale. Pasteurization not only makes the juice microbiologically safe, it also extends shelf life without adding preservatives. Now, with juice filtered, clarified, and pasteurized, it's ready for the final step: bottling and packaging, where automation meets precision on a massive scale. Now that the apple juice is pasteurized, it's ready to be bottled. Empty containers, whether plastic, glass, or cartons, are first cleaned using blasts of ionized air or sterilizing steam. Then they move into high-speed filling machines, where the hot juice is dispensed with incredible precision, often hundreds of bottles per minute. Immediately after filling, bottles are sealed with airtight caps to prevent contamination. They pass through a cooling tunnel to bring the juice to room temperature, locking in freshness. Next comes labeling, where each bottle gets its brand wrap, nutritional info, and a printed batch code for traceability. Finally, bottles are grouped, shrink-wrapped, and stacked on pallets, ready to be shipped to grocery stores around the world. The entire process is automated, efficient, and designed for hygiene from start to finish. From sunlit orchards to stainless steel factories, the journey of apple juice is a story of nature, science, and precision. Each bottle represents thousands of carefully harvested apples, washed, sorted, crushed, filtered, pasteurized, and bottled within hours. What begins as imperfect fruit becomes a perfect product, consistent, clean, and ready for shelves around the world. It's easy to take a drink like apple juice for granted, but behind every sip lies an incredible process, driven by people, powered by machines, and refined by decades of innovation. If you enjoyed discovering how your favorite foods are made, don't forget to subscribe to Top Discovery 4K. We bring you closer to the world of modern manufacturing, one product at a time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.